Good day and welcome to S24 Rundown, where we bring you the latest developments and major stories making headlines from across the country and beyond. I'm Gloria Atta, and our news in brief comes up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. To start with, 33 state governments. Welcome back. To start with, 33 state governments spent at least 512.1 billion naira on government houses, governors' offices, executive administration, travel and transport in the first half of 2026. An analysis of state budget implementation reports showed that 420.01 billion naira went to government house and executive administration, while 92.09 billion naira was spent on travel and transport. The amount is about 4,713 times the combined 6-month salaries of Nigeria's 36 governors, estimated at 108.65 million naira, based on a monthly salary of 503,000 naira each. The expenditure, however, does not represent governors' personal income, but covers official operations, staff, protocol, maintenance, utilities, security-related activities, residences, and travel. Compared with the first half of 2025, the expenditure declined by 45.7 billion naira, or 82%. Kogi recorded the highest government house and governor's office spending at 65.34 billion naira, followed by Ogun and Lagos with 45.26 billion naira and 45.04 billion naira respectively. A development economist, Aliu Ilia, said the figures highlighted the cost of maintaining Nigeria's political institutions and the need for greater scrutiny of executive spending. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Atiku Abubakar, has reaffirmed his plan to restore targeted petrol subsidy if elected president in 2027. In a statement on Tuesday, Atiku said his position on subsidy has not and will not change, arguing that the policy would ease economic hardship, reduce transport costs, and make food more affordable. He said the intervention would help restore the purchasing power of Nigerians. The statement came after his spokesperson, Paul Ibe, said the proposed subsidy would be temporary and eventually phased out as the economy recovered. Ibe said the plan would be tied to crude oil production and domestic refining, with crude supply to local refiners at discounted prices to lower fuel costs. Atiku also criticized the Tinubu administration for removing petrol subsidy, saying the policy had contributed to higher transportation costs and food inflation. President Bola Tinubu has previously criticized Atiku's proposal, describing it as evidence of what he called serious ignorance of governance and economics. And in Nigeria's drug war, the chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Buba Marwa, says arrests alone cannot defeat drug trafficking unless the proceeds of crime are also seized. Speaking at the 43rd Cambridge International Symposium on Economic Crime in the United Kingdom, Marwa said the success of the criminal justice system should not be measured only by convictions, but also by its ability to make crime unprofitable. He cited the forfeiture and sale of the Hook Hotel linked to a fugitive drug suspect for $4.2 million, with the proceeds paid into the federal government's forfeited assets account. Marwa also disclosed that the NDLEA froze bank accounts containing more than $7 million in the previous month and secured interim forfeiture orders covering multi-billion naira assets allegedly linked to a fugitive methamphetamine syndicate. He said assets should be preserved while cases are pending to prevent their value from declining. The NDLEA boss called for stronger international cooperation to help dismantle the financial networks supporting drug trafficking. Now, Abia State Governor Alex Otti has commissioned a remodeled and digitally equipped 80-bed Obingwa General Hospital in Ngboko, Obingwa local government area. The facility had been renamed after late human rights activist Chima Ubani. Otti said the project was part of efforts to modernize public health care and improve access to quality medical services. The hospital features a modern theater, laboratory, and scan facilities, eye care units, digital data management systems, and renewable energy infrastructure. The governor said the facility would operate 24 hours a day and serve residents of Obingwa and neighboring communities. Abia Commissioner for Health, Professor Enoch Uche, said the state government had embarked on 301 health infrastructure projects within 3 years, including the construction and equipping of 277 primary health care centers. The hospital's management board said the Obingwa facility was in a dilapidated condition when the current administration took over, but had now been transformed into a functional hospital. And internationally, the United States has paused immigrant visa applications worldwide as the Donald Trump administration moves to tighten restrictions on applicants considered likely to rely on public assistance. A State Department official confirmed that the initiative was launched at U.S. embassies and consulates in early August. Applicants whose interviews had already been scheduled were reportedly informed that their appointments had been cancelled and would be rescheduled. The State Department said the move was aimed at ensuring consular officers could comprehensively access visa applicants. The pause is part of a wider immigration crackdown by the Trump administration, which has also targeted visa holders who enter the U.S. as tourists or business visitors before applying for asylum. The latest measures have drawn concern from immigration lawyers and advocates who warned that applicants could face significant financial and personal disruption. Still on the international scene, at least 14 infants have died after a fire broke out at a maternity ward of Pakistan's Institute of Medical Services in Islamabad. Authorities said the fire erupted on the third floor of the hospital early Wednesday with an electrical fault involving an air conditioner blamed for the blaze. Witnesses described scenes of thick black smoke, broken windows, and frantic efforts to rescue patients. Some witnesses alleged that emergency response was slow and that security personnel initially prevented people from leaving the hospital. Hospital authorities, however, said the fire was brought under control after emergency teams arrived. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has expressed grief over the deaths and ordered a thorough investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding the incident. The tragedy has renewed concerns over fire safety standards and enforcement in Pakistan, where deadly building fires have occurred in recent years. May their souls rest in peace. Now moving on to business news with Miriam Dalhatu. Hello, Miriam.
Hello, Gloria. Now to business. The CBN is offering 700 billion treasury bills while Nigerian petroleum exports surge and NVIDIA earnings takes global spotlight. I am Miriam Dalhatu and here are the details. Central Bank of Nigeria is offering 700 billion naira in treasury bills to cover today's auction, covering 91-day, 182-day, 364-day maturities, with 500 billion naira allocated to one-year paper. Investors are closely watching demand and the yields that emerge from the auction. The auction comes as the Treasury bill yields remain elevated, with secondary markets average yield yielded 18.89%. Strong demand at the previous auction saw investors submit about 4.4 trillion naira to bid against 700 billion naira on the offer. Today's outcome will therefore provide an important signal on investors' appetite, liquidity condition, and the attractiveness of government securities in the Nigerian financial markets. Meanwhile, in the energy sector, Nigeria's petroleum exports surged sevenfold. Nigerian petroleum product exports have surged sevenfold since 2023, according to the data from the According to the data from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, seaborne petroleum product shipments have averaged 561,000 barrels per day in the second quarter in 2026, compared to 2023 when it was 79,000 barrels per day. Of that figure, exports also showed that there was 350,000 barrels per day, up to 46,000 barrels per day in 2023. The growth has been driven largely by the increased production from the Dangote refinery, which has helped Nigerians reduce its dependency on imported refined products while expanding shipments to Europe and other countries. In the second quarter, exports to Europe were about 130,000 barrels per day, while Nigerian seaborne fuel imports fell below 130,000 barrels per day. The development marks a significant shift in Nigeria's downstream petroleum industry and strengthened its position as a regional supplier of refined products. On the international scene, NVIDIA earnings put global AI boom to test. The global investors are awaiting NVIDIA's second quarter earnings reports later today. It is expected to be one of the biggest corporate events for financial markets this week. NVIDIA has become a central global artificial intelligence boom, supplying advanced chips used to power AI systems. Analysts expect the company to report quarterly revenue of about $92.2 billion, representing growth roughly 96% earlier this year. Investors will be watching out not only for the results, but as NVIDIA also outlook its next generation Robin chips and continued demand for AI infrastructure. The company's performance could influence technology stocks and broader market sentiments as investors assess whether enormous spending on artificial intelligence can continue to generate strong revenues. NVIDIA is scheduled to discuss this earning by 7 p.m. East African time. Thank you very much. Over to you, Gloria.
Thank you, Miriam, and welcome back from that break. Up next is S24 Report, coming to you after the break. Stay with us.
Before now, living with neighbors in Nigeria used to be like living with your family. But all of a sudden, things are different. We are on the street of Abuja to ask simple Nigerians what would be the reason for the fallout and what is the possible solution for that. Come with me.
Yes, you are very right. And I think there are a lot of reasons behind it. In summary, everything can be bounced back at lack of love. Love, because as a Christian, I believe love covers multitude of so many things. If there's love, you wouldn't think of evil about your fellow neighbor or fellow human being. And again, jealousy, enviness, everybody wants to have edge over the other person. I want to be at the top, even if you are doing well. So far, your neighbor is doing better than you. You know, that kind of enviness. It's not as if you are suffering or you are lacking. So anything that will put the person down, and insecurity, anything that will put the person down is what will be in your mind, so that you always remain at the edge over your neighbor's soul and insecurity. What can compare the security of them to now?
What could be the solution?
Solution to such Nigeria of this day, I don't think there can be a prompt solution because a lot of people are really lacking. Everybody wants to make it. Everybody wants to make money. Even siblings are using each other for rituals, not because of it. So can there be solution to that? I think we should just keep preaching about love. And we preach about contentment. And we should make the public, the whole world knows that everything is vanity. Because you make this money, you have everything you have at the end of the day. It ends here from the earth. I think we should keep emphasizing, laying emphasis, even from our children, they are toddlers, 80s, once they start school. If possible, we should, educationists should imbibe it in our education, backing it up that everything you have, even this education, is vanity. From childhood education, let us inculcate that in the learning scheme. And adults, we should try and create seminars, churches, places of worship, Muslims. Let's keep telling them that everything is beauty and we should live with contentment. I think with that, it can gradually reduce.
It is not. Things are deteriorating. And you can see that if you x-ray it very well, politics is a major problem. And we are taking it from a very wrong side. Muslims see Christians different. Different see Christians, Muslims different now. In those days, we come from a background where maybe one of your uncle is a Muslim, the other one is a Christian, and we relate very well. Now, friends who are two different religions, they don't even believe in each other. Then come and see what is happening. People don't know who the real bad guy is. So the next day you hear that they've taken your neighbor, you are being suspected. How do you think in a situation like that people will reconcile? Secondly, orientation agency should get back to their duties because we are so disoriented now. You understand? If these two people can do this, then the religious leaders should get to talk to people on how to reactivate their faith in God, not in what they need now. Because campaign of calumny is too much. Then our politicians too should learn to do politics with some level of decency.
Between neighbors. It's just simple way. You know, if you want to build a relationship, you know, the higher you build your relationship is how you relate with your neighbors. Because if you cannot relate well with your neighbors, there is no how you will reserve any of your property with him when you are going out. You know, normally when somebody is going out to work or go to market, you see a woman or you see a man, say, please, I'm going to go and buy something, please hold my key. Yes, sir, because I'm not sitting on the road. Or just keep it because one or two people distract me. You know, because of that trust you get from that your neighbor. That's why you're able to exchange your property key to the person. You understand now? But by the time they will break, you can't greet your neighbor. And if your neighbor greets you, you can't even answer well. What will be the cause is because of some things. Everybody look your neighbor like enemities. You know, what will be also the cause is that because maybe that person is making it more than you. So because of that, you get envy. That's where the whole thing starts. Your neighbor is making it, and because maybe he's not equal with you, or he's not a bit more than you, you are now like jealous. You understand? So because of that, now you want to like think that maybe the person is going down to diabolic in making it more than you. So that's what breach all those things now.
Not the same, because now you cannot go, I cannot come to your house maybe in the night without telling you. Because what is happening in this country now is cute. And this kidnapping in the vehicle, one chance. So I'm appealing to every Nigerian, they should mind the kind of vehicle they bought. Because of the insurgency. And stress, see. Someone will come to say, you might come to my house, I'll tell you, you come to me for money or something. That person will never know that. Based on relationship, you come and see me. Me actually now, I don't normally go to my relations. Yeah, because I would call them and talk to them. I say everything is fine. I call my people. If I have any problem, any finance, I'll just call my wife. And they say, you send me something. So the problem is insecurity in this country. The governors now, those who in governance, they should try all means to make sure they stop insecurity in this country. Yeah.
The 10th National Assembly was inaugurated on June 13, 2023, with promises of effective legislation and strong oversight. But for the past 3 years, how well have they done? How well have they delivered? Beyond the bills passed and motions raised, what impact has it had on Nigerians? Today on Political Arena, we will be discussing that with my guest, Edwin Mack, and I remain your host, Onie Shukra.
Thank you.
Hello, Edwin.
I'm fine, thank you.
How have you been? How is it?
Thank God.
Okay, so can you give us an oversight of the 10th legislature?
Well, overview of the 10th legislature or the 10th National Assembly. There's been quite a productive one in numerous angles or from numerous perspectives. I mean, they've tried their best when it comes to lawmaking, which is their primary function according to Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution. I mean, they've tried in that aspect. But then again, much is still desired on their part in terms of, oversight and their independence. So, I mean, but in terms of lawmaking, which is their primary responsibility, they've, been up to task when it comes to that. Thank you.
The House has considered thousands of bills, but only a fraction become law. Should we focus on the number of bills introduced or their actual impact on Nigerians?
Definitely impact. Definitely impact. I mean, when we consider the number of bills, I think for the first 2 years, when the 10th Assembly actually came on board, according to their legislative tracker, they recorded that they had about 2,263 bills. And of those 2,000 plus bills, about 183 passed the third reading, passed the third stage. And from just a fraction of that, we had only about 51 that became laws. But then again, in considering those 51, we're now beginning to ask ourselves, how impactful have they been on the part of Nigerians? I mean, if we are to look at it from a holistic standpoint, it is better off to have a bill that addresses, say, the electricity problem of Nigeria, to maybe thousands of other bills that seeks to name institutions after individuals. So definitely impact.
In their first 2 years, they passed 186 bills and 51 receiving assents from the government. So what does that say about their impact?
Well, if we are to look at it, what it says is that, there have been quite activity on their own part. Yes, it signifies that they're actually doing why we send them there. But then again, like I said, it all hinges and draws back to how effective or how it have affected the lives of the individuals, that's the people, their constituent members of whom they represent. So I wouldn't ordinarily, equate it to productivity. So I would just say that it reflects a strong activity on their part. Thank you.
Okay, so as a Nigerian, we've had some uproar about them agreeing with anything the executives pass. Okay. What would you say about that?
You see, this is quite, a nuanced perspective. If we are to look at it, cooperation, there's no problem with them cooperating with, the executive. Where it now becomes, bad or where it becomes terrible is a situation where, they welcome insubordination. Insubordination being that maybe them not necessarily exerting their powers, they tend to be, is it a second strata? They tend to be a second strata of the executive. So there is nothing wrong in them cooperating with them, but where it now becomes terrible is a situation where they tend to assent to anything that has been brought before their table. They tend to, just do everything that suits the whims and caprices of the executive. So, but then again, if we are to look at it overall, it all hinges on the fact that they should cooperate, but in as much as they are doing that, they should also try as much as they can to do their oversight functions, because as well as I know, there are latent functions and then there are oversight functions. So they should try as much as they can to equally pay credence or pay allusions to the oversight functions that they have, which is maintaining their independence as, an arm of government.
And at the end of the day, they are there to represent the people.
Of course.
Okay, so there's been some gap between what the legislative promised and what they have delivered. What would you say about that?
Well, as regards what they have promised and what they've delivered so far, if we are to look at it, I mean, they have, before some of them actually gained, came into the National Assembly, they made some promises to their constituent members. And for most of them, much or some of them has actually been achieved. Yes, some of them has actually been achieved, but not all. I mean, if we are looking at it, there are many constituents that don't really know what actually goes on in that parliament. They just feel that, I mean, the person that we send there has actually gone to that place, and they have not really been receiving update as they ought to. They've not really been seeing the value of why they send those people there. And even to some extent, there is this thing that is predominant amongst people, amongst folks, among constituents. They feel that, oh, they have now attained the rise of demigods. I mean, if they're just there, it's only when they need them, they feel that the only time they need these people is when they come back to seek for their votes. But then again, it's just, I mean, they've been able to achieve some of, the things they promised.
I mean, some senators or some legislators have achieved some things.
Of course, they've achieved something.
Okay, so I picked something from what you said.
Okay.
You mentioned something about the people they are representing not paying attention to what their representatives are doing in the House.
Yes.
Does that boil down to the level of education, or it is apathy on the part of the people?
Well, I think this problem of apathy, some of them or some of these constituents, they feel that there is little or nothing they can do when it comes to their. I was having a conversation with some people and they didn't even know what a recall was.
Yes.
So you can actually see, it's not, I wouldn't really call it apathy, because this apathy comes with ignorance. It is only when you know that something can actually be done, that is, I mean, you can actually exert such a thing. But then again, like I said, most of them are apathetic towards this whole thing. They are apathetic, they don't really know about it.
I mean, we have seen from cases where people only focus on the president. They
Exactly.
only see him as the grand commander in
Exactly.
chief of the federation, but they do not focus on their governors, their local government chairmen, their representatives, as we're talking about at the moment.
They just feel that it's the president that
Everything is
has all the
responsibility.
responsibilities.
Yes. Okay, so the 10th Assembly has been accused of being too close to the executive. At what point does cooperation become a threat to legislative independence?
Like I said earlier, insubordination, in a situation where they feel themselves subordinate to, the executive. All these things are ordinarily supposed to be, they should have an equal playing ground amongst each other. They should checkmate each other. But then again, at the point of, they seeing themselves as not ordinarily, being all that powerful, because they see anybody that is at the helm of affairs at the executive, they feel that that person is, the god of everything. So I really just personally have mentioned the fact that cooperating with them is not really bad. Yes, cooperating with the executive is not really a bad thing. But then again, in as much as they're trying to do that, they should strike a balance. They should really strike a balance between their duties and then the oversight functions of checkmating. That's keeping separation of power actually alive.
Edwin, we would come back to this conversation, but for now, we will be going on a short break. Do stay and join us.
For nearly a week each July, Togo's Kabye people gather in the town of Kara to celebrate the transition of boyhood to manhood, which involves a series of traditional wrestling matches between teenagers. For participants like 17-year-old Piabalo Babana, the traditional wrestling ceremony is a way to connect with ancient traditions. The ceremony demands that boys go through the wrestling rituals several times before their 18th birthday. For the pride of my culture, I am proud to practice my culture. I am very happy to fight my opponent, Babana said.
For the pride of my culture, I am proud to practice my culture. I feel very happy to fight my opponent.
Every grab of his opponent's limb and every fall has a meaning that goes far beyond a simple confrontation. Because here, the essential thing is not just to win. Even in defeat, honor remains intact. Being a valor means, above all, having the courage to stand before one's own people, to enter the arena and to face the challenge. Losing is not a disgrace, but one more step on the path to maturity.
I feel very proud. The fight was a bit tough, but in the end, I did my best and I knocked him down.
Chari Esowe, a former wrestler who coached Babana, explained that training requires mental as well as physical conditioning. In the morning, we make them do sports. Then we go to the Ivala field, Esowe said. That way, we don't warm them up with songs and dances. We sing like that, then we shout, because you have to be motivated to perform the Ivala rituals. It's a bit complicated. In the preliminary round, we wrestle. We rank the first ones, then there are 4 of them. First, second, third, and it's after that I rank them at the end of the wrestling, he explained.
We make them do sports. Then we go to the Vala field. That way, we don't warm them up with songs and dances. We sing like that. Then we shout, because you have to be motivated to perform the Vala rituals.
Chanting, singing, dancing, and even sitting in silence. The goal is to build physical endurance, but above all, mental strength. Other methods of preparation involves abstinence from sexual activities, fasting and body sacrification, with coaches like Esowe playing a key role. They train, advise, and pass on much more than just techniques. They pass on values. They are the ones who give these struggles its true meaning as a cultural initiation. On the day of the battle, before entering the arena, the teenage males receive final words from their clan elders, words of encouragement, instructions, and a reminder of the honor they bear. Babana, proud to represent his people, stood in anticipation, facing his contender. 2 wrestlers, 2 clans, 2 histories intersect in the area. A fight can be brief or grueling, but no matter the outcome, the community will celebrate the display of courage. Babana emerged victorious from his duel. After the wrestling, he began the Kundana, the symbolic walk to the sacred mountain of Swede. Up there, in the silence of the highlands, he performed the final rites, received blessings and recognition, and thanked the ancestors for their guidance and protection. The Kunduna happens once every 5 years. It is shrouded in secrecy and closed to the public. It is at the Kunduna that the boy truly becomes a man. The tradition also brings thousands of Kabies from the diaspora back to Kara to reconnect with their roots. Whether they come from Paris, Lomé, Abidjan, or Montreal, they vibrate with their kinsfolks in a spirit of intergenerational solidarity. For Jagdo Koko, photographer and specialist in the cultural history of Togo, it is essential to document the Ivalas. His aim is making the tradition understood by the youth to give them a sense of cultural ownership.
Ivala ne doit pas rester dans ce cocon folklorique.
For me, Ivala should not remain in this folkloric cocoon. This Ivala, through images, is not the images we see on the 8 o'clock news, but a documentary that documents.
Rencontre un jeune Kabie, il doit comprendre pourquoi il fait ça.
The Kabie are the second largest ethnic group in Togo after the Ewe. While agriculture is the backbone of their community, the Ivala and its wrestling custom have become a pivotal element of Kabie identity.
Hello and welcome to Security Update. I am Martha Okpala-Nedu, bringing you the latest developments from across the country as security agencies intensify efforts to protect lives and property. First to Nigeria State, where President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered an immediate and coordinated operation to rescue worshippers abducted by gunmen in parts of Bogu local government area. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ordered security agencies to launch an immediate rescue operation for worshippers abducted during an attack in Niger State. The incident occurred in communities including Dakere, Girinzara, and Sabongida in Bogu local government area, where gunmen reportedly attacked residents during Friday prayers. Reports indicate that dozens of people were taken into the surrounding bush, while about 30 people were reportedly killed in the attack. There have also been reports suggesting that the number of abducted persons could be as high as 600, although the exact figure has not been independently verified, and authorities are still working to establish the number of missing persons. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the service chiefs and other security agencies to coordinate the rescue operation and provide him with regular updates until all the victims are accounted for. The Defense Headquarters says the President's directive is being fully implemented, with security forces intensifying effort to locate and rescue the abductees. The president also condemned the attack, assuring Nigerians that the government will continue to protect communities and bring those responsible to justice. Meanwhile, in Plateau State, troops have recovered 3 cattle out of 60 reportedly rustled from a residence of Amnat village in Mupon, district of Pakshin, local government area. The incident happened on August 23rd, when troops under Operation Hardknock launched a search and recovery operation after receiving a report of the missing livestock. According to security-focused outlet Zagazola Makama, troops tracked the footprints of the cattle to Lawet and Lamofunali camps in Poshet district. 3 of the cattle were found at the residence of a herder identified as Nuru Rajako, who was reportedly not present when the troops arrived. The recovered cattle have since been handed back to their owner. Security personnel are now intensifying efforts to apprehend the suspected herder and recover the remaining 57 cattle. The operation is part of ongoing efforts to tackle cattle rustling and other forms of criminality in Plateau State, while protecting the livelihoods of farmers and livestock owners. And in Enugu State, 3 kidnapped victims have regained their freedom after police operatives foiled an abduction operation. The Enugu State Police Command says its operatives rescued the victims and recovered 2 locally made firearms, ammunition, and other items linked to the crime. The operation followed a report of an attack in which armed men reportedly carjacked and abducted occupants of a Lexus RX 350. Police operatives launched a pursuit, forcing the suspect to abandon the vehicle and flee on foot. The 3 victims were subsequently rescued unharmed with the assistance of members of the Neighborhood Watch and residents. The police say a manhunt is now underway for the fleeing suspects while investigation continues. The Commissioner of Police commended the officers and members of the community who assisted in the rescue, while urging residents to remain vigilant and provide security agencies with credible information. And that's the latest on the security update for today. Remember that security is a shared responsibility. Do stay safe. Bye for now.
Hello and welcome to Tech World Update, where we discuss technology, innovation and digital world. I am Aisha Muhammad. Here's what's shaping ICT from Nigeria to the global stage. Today's headlines focus on Nigerians' move towards a modern digital addressing system, MTN's growing ambition in financial services across Africa, and an unexpected technology partnership between American company HP and Chinese technology giant Huawei. We begin in Nigeria. Nigeria is taking another step towards developing a modern digitalized national addressing system. The National Addressing Council, chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, has approved a preliminary framework for the development of a nationwide digital addressing system. The framework is expected to support areas including e-commerce, logistics, urban planning, and public administration, by making it easier to accurately identify and locate communities, businesses, and properties across the country. Speaking at the council meeting in Abuja, Vice President Shettima stressed the need for a system that can locate communities, support businesses, and strengthen government services while protecting citizen privacy. The initiative also brings several government agencies and stakeholders together, with the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation expected to serve as the secretariat. Beyond simply knowing an address, a reliable digital addressing system can become important infrastructure for Nigeria's digital economy, from delivering online purchases to emergency response, financial services, taxation, and urban planning. Across Africa, telecommunication giant MTN Group is increasing its ambitions in financial services as it pursues digital lending and formal banking licensing across several African markets. The move represents a broader evolution of telecommunications companies into financial technology providers, with millions of customers already using mobile network and digital platforms. Telecom operators have an established customer base that can potentially be connected to digital payments, credit, and other financial services. For African markets, where millions of people remain underserved by traditional banking system, the expansion could further blur the line between telecommunications and financial services. And finally, on the international stage, in an unexpected technology licensing agreement, HP has partnered with Huawei to license Huawei's advanced Wi-Fi technology. The development is notable because Huawei has faced significant restrictions and scrutiny from the United States over national security concerns and its access to certain technologies. The agreement highlights the increasing complex nature of global technology industry, where companies can still find areas for commercial cooperation despite wider geopolitical tensions. It also demonstrates how critical connectivity technologies such as Wi-Fi remain the global technology ecosystem. And that's Tech World Updates, where innovation meets impact and the future stays in focus. Stay informed, stay connected, and join us again for more stories shaping the digital future. And up next is Entertainment News Update. Thank you and bye for now.
Entertainment world is making headlines with major developments in Nigerian music, a legal case involving Poco Lee, and the death of one of country music's most iconic stars, Dolly Parton. Welcome to today's entertainment update. 5 rising Nigerian artists have been nominated for the Next Rated category at the 18th Hades Awards. Fola, Shodi, Marvo, Fido, and Lionel made the shortlist announced by the organizers ahead of the 2026 ceremony, scheduled to take place in Canada. The Next Rated Award recognizes emerging artists who have made significant impact on the Nigerian music industry during the review period. Fola leads the nomination among the newcomers, emerging his songs You, his album Catharsis, and in categories including Afrobeat Single, Best Recording, and Digital Artist of the Year. Shode, Mavo, Fido, and Lerna also earned nominations following their glowing influence and successful releases. And while Nigeria's music industry celebrates its rising stars, dancer and singer Poco Lee is facing a very different kind of spotlight as the legal team responds to claims surrounding his UK case. Poco Lee's management has clarified reports surrounding the sexual assault case involving Nigerian entertainer in the United Kingdom. In a statement issued on August 25th, his management and legal team confirmed that matter is before the UK court and urged the public to avoid concluding before the case is determined. The team specifically rejected references to drink spiking, saying the claim is not part of the actual allegation or the charges before the court. They also urged the media and public to avoid spreading unverified information that could prejudice the case. Reports of Poco Lee's arrest surfaced on August 19th, while further reports indicate that he was being held on remand with a plea hearing expected in September. His management says further updates will be provided through official channels as the legal process continues. Meanwhile, the global music industry is mourning the loss of legendary voice, whose career spanned more than 7 decades. Country music icon Dolly Parton had died at the age of 80. The legendary singer's death was reported on August 25th, with her family announcing her passing and describing her legacy as one of love, compassion, and resilience. Parton enjoyed a career spanning more than 70 years and became one of country music's most influential figures. She was known for timeless hits including Jolene and I Will Always Love You, which later became a global hit for Whitney Houston. Beyond music, Parton was also a successful actress, appearing in films including Steel Magnolias and Rhinestone. She won 11 Grammy Awards and received numerous other honors throughout her career. US President Donald Trump led tributes to the late singer and ordered American flags to be flown at half-staff in her honor. And that's all we have for you for today on Today's Entertainment. I am Lenny Skiet. Thanks for staying with us.
Good day, sports fans. The transfer market is eating up. Awards are making headlines, and Nigerian biggest football stars are still making waves across the globe. From a Manchester City forward making a temporary switch to Tottenham, to Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes revealing an interesting secret behind his PFA Player of the Year votes, and Victor Osimhen sliding down the latest African MVP ranking. There is plenty to talk about. I am Stephen Eliobo, and this is your sports update. Let's get right into it. Tottenham Hotspur have reportedly strengthened their attacking options with the arrival of Manchester City forward Omar Mamouche on loan. The Egyptian international brings pace, creativity, and an eye for goal to North London, giving Spurs another dangerous option in attack. For Mamouche, the move offers a chance to enjoy more regular football and prove what he can do away from the Etihad. And for Tottenham, it could be a smart piece of business as they look to build a squad capable of competing at the highest level. So Spurs fans, could Mamouche be the missing piece in Tottenham's attacking puzzle? Soon, time will tell. Meanwhile, Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes have revealed an interesting detail about the PFA Player of the Year award. Despite eventually winning the prestigious honor, Fernandes admitted that he actually voted for an Arsenal player. Now, that certainly makes things interesting. The Portuguese midfielder decision highlights just how highly he rated the performance of his fellow Premier League stars, even from a major arrival. Winning the award makes himself the revelation even more intriguing because sometimes even the best players know when another players deserve a little recognition. And finally, Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen has slipped to 5th position in the latest African Most Valuable Player ranking. The Super Eagles forward remain one of the continent's most recognized and prolific attackers, but the latest ranking sees him drop a few places in what is shaping to be a highly competitive race. For Osimhen, though, rankings are not only part of the story. His goal, performances, and impact on the pitch will ultimately determine how he is remembered. And knowing the Nigerian striker, a little drop in the ranking could be all the motivation he needs to come rolling back. And that's a wrap. Mamouche is heading to Tottenham. Bruno Fernandes has revealed an unexpected PFA voting choice, and Osimhen has some ground to make up in the African Most Valuable Player race. Football never stops giving us drama, and believe me, there's always another headline waiting around the corner. Thanks for watching. Keep supporting the beautiful game, and remember, when the whistle blows, the story begins. Until next time, stay sharp, stay sporty, and keep the passion alive. Coming up next is PG News after the break.
Tori body and the main where we carry come forward now from Niger and Obodo Igbo be this. First, 33 states governments don't spend at least 512.1 billion naira for government houses them, governor offices, executive administration, travel and transport for the first 6 months of 2026. Analysis of state budget report shows say 420.01 billion naira don't go for government house and executive administration, while 92.9 billion naira go for travel and transport. The money no be governor personal income. It cover official operations, staff, protocol, maintenance, utility, security activities, residencies, and official travel. Compared with the first 6 months of 2025, the spending dropped by 45.7 billion naira, representing 8.2%. Kogi recorded the highest spending on government house and governor's office with 65.34 billion naira. Ogun State come follow with 45.26 billion naira, and Lagos State follow with 45.04 billion naira. Development economist Aliu Elias say the figures show the high cost of running political institutions for Niger and the need for more scrutiny of government spending. And this one, they come from the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, will be Atiku Abubakar, and he don't reaffirm, say he go bring back targeted petrol subsidy if he win the 2027 presidential election. Atiku Yan say for statement on Tuesday, say his position on subsidy never change and he no go change at all. He said the policy go help reduce economic hardship, transport costs, and make food more affordable for Nigerians. In spokesperson will be Paul Ibe, Yan say the subsidy go initially dey temporary and later phase out as the economy recover. In Yan say the plan go depend on crude oil production and local refinery, with crude supply to local refineries at discounted prices and reduced fuel costs. Atiku also criticized the Tinubu administration over the removal of petrol subsidy. Yani say it don't contribute to higher transport costs and food inflation. President Bola Tinubu earlier criticized Atiku proposal in describe him as evidence of waiting in cause serious ignorance of governance and economy. And the chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, will be NDLEA, Buba Marwa Yan, say them arrest drug traffickers. They don't address drug traffickers alone. Go day enough to stop drug trafficking. Marwa Yan say government was also seize the money and property will come from illegal business. In Yana for the Cambridge International Symposium on Economic Crime for the United Kingdom, Marwa Yan say success for the criminal justice system no suppose they measured by only conviction. In Yan say government must make sure say crime no dey profitable. Marwa give example of the forfeiture and sale of Hook Hotel, where they linked to one fugitive drug suspect for $4.2 million. I mean to say, he also disclosed, say NDLEA freeze bank accounts containing more than $7 million for the previous month and secure interim forfeiture order on assets worth billions of nairas allegedly linked to a fugitive methamphetamine syndicate. Marwa called for stronger international cooperation to help break the financial network behind drug trafficking. And this one they come from Abia State, as the state governor will be Alex Oti don commission a remodeled and digitally equipped 80-bed Obingwa General Hospital for Mboko Obingwa local government area. The hospital don also set a new name after late human rights activist will be Chima Ubani. Utiyan say the project now part of efforts to modernize public health care and give residents better access to medical services. The hospital gets modern theater, laboratory, scan facilities, eye care unit, digital data systems, and renewable energy infrastructure. The governor Yan said the facility will operate 24 hours every day and serve residents of Obingwa and nearby communities. Abia Commissioner for Health, Professor Enoch Uche, Yan said the state government don't embark on 301 health infrastructure projects within 3 years, including the construction and equipping of 277 primary health care centers, The hospital management board here say the Obingwa Hospital they in bad condition before the current administration take over, but government don't now transform them into a functional health facility. OT also appealed to residents to protect the hospital from vandalism. And lastly, on to Igbo matter, the United States don't pause immigrant visa application worldwide as President Donald Trump administration tightening immigration restriction. A U.S. State Department official confirmed say the new move starts for U.S. embassies and consulates since early August. Some applicants wey already get interview dates reportedly receive information say their appointment don't cancel and go reschedule later. The State Department say the move now to allow consular officers properly assess visa applicants. The pause they part of the wider immigration crackdown by the Trump administration. Immigration lawyers and advocates don't express concerns, saying the new measures fit cause serious financial and personal problems for applicants. At least 14 babies don't cry after fire break out for maternity ward for Pakistan Institute of Medical Sciences for Islamabad. Authorities here say the fire started for the 3rd floor of the hospital early Wednesday with an electrical fault involving an air conditioner where they blame them for the incident. Witnesses described thick black smoke, broken windows, and frantic efforts to rescue patients. Some witnesses allege emergency response slow and security personnel initially stopped people from leaving the ward. Hospital authorities, however, say emergency teams arrive and bring the fire under control. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif expressed sadness over the deaths and ordered full investigation into the incident. The tragedy don't again raise concern over fire safety standards for hospitals and other buildings across Pakistan. My people, now here we go wrap to the today story for when I be that. Mokula don't forget to always watch S24. My name na Hadiza Galadima. We'll go see next time.
Thank you, Hadiza Galadima, for that version of our news. And this brings us to the end of S24 News Rundown. Do join us next time and remember to follow us on all our social media platforms at S24 Television for more updates and breaking stories. My name is Gloria Atta. Thanks for watching and bye for now.